Hey everyone. I'm sure half of you are relieved that I have a completely different background for this video, and the other half of you are probably thinking, oh my gosh, her DVD collection is so disorganized. Possibly in a different video we'll do a DVD organization system, but today I wanted to go ahead and do a tag video that I came up with. So the idea of this tag came from me going through a lot of other legally blind and or blind YouTube channels and seeing especially a lot of videos of how people describe their experience using audio description at the movie theater, and so it got me thinking of other questions which I've been asked about my vision or things that I'm curious about whenever I plan on going to the movies with people that I know can't see very well. And so I came up with these 10 questions, and I'm calling this the Vision and Movies tag. So the first question I came up with is, how would you describe your experience listening to movies versus watching them? And I came up with this question because throughout elementary, middle school, high school, college even probably, there were times where, we'd finish our work for the day, and whatever teacher felt like it would have it let us watch movies during class, And I mean, these could range from anything from The Never-Ending Story to The Land Before Time to The Secret Garden in elementary school, and then obviously when I got older, the more modern movies were Twister and Romeo and Juliet and that sort of thing. And so, the teachers would just let everybody watch them. And the TVs, generally they weren't like on a desk or a table or stand or anything like that for me to be like almost eye to eye level with them. So I couldn't see what everybody else was seeing. Usually the TVs were somehow hooked up to the upper part of the wall or the ceiling. I'm not really sure. I don't know the mechanics of how the TVs are mounted up there. But anyway, so even with movies that I'd seen before, I actually found it kind of boring just to be listening to them. Question 2, do you use any visual aids to help you see the TV? I believe when I was either in elementary school or middle school, I went to the low vision doctor, and in an attempt to help me be able to see things better, they actually gave me some glasses. They looked like regular glasses, except they had like binoculars on the end of them. And he wanted me to use those to be like, okay, do you think you can use these to watch TV from a distance? And I'm thinking to myself, well, why would I want to watch TV from a distance? It's not what I'm used to, even if I'm at a friend's house. Question 3, how close do you have to sit to a TV or movie screen in order to see it? It all kind of depends on what I'm watching and I guess how badly I really want to see it. If I'm going by myself, I generally sit somewhere between, say, the second closest row to the screen and maybe the 4th row. And as far as TV is concerned, if I'm watching reruns, if it's something I've seen before, like reruns of The Big Bang Theory, and, I feel like I don't really need to be fully engaged in it in order to understand what's going on, if it's an episode I've seen 10 times already, then, I won't worry about sitting too close. But if it's something that that I've been looking forward to seeing and I want to make sure that I don't miss a second of it, generally I'll sit right in front of the TV, or if it's a TV that's eye level to me, I'll just stand there and watch the TV. Question 4, what has been your experience using audio description in movies and or TV? When I was 11, I had gone to a camp for blind and visually impaired people, and some of the movies they had at the time, Forrest Gump was a really popular one. So that one they didn't have that in an audio description format, so we just watched the regular VHS copy. But then another time they had us watch Beauty and the Beast, and it was audio description VHS. And my roommate and I thought, oh my god, this is so cool, you know, we're gonna go and look at the catalog and, you know, have our parents order all the audio description VHS tapes. As of nowadays when I'm looking at it, I don't use, as I might have mentioned before, I don't use any type of audio description headphones when I go to the movies. And I just recently checked out the audio description feature on Netflix. So say for example, I was watching, with the audio description on, I was watching a Netflix original movie and I was also watching Stranger Things. And for the most part, I would say the audio description is generally pretty distracting, and sometimes it kind of confuses me, like, why they would mention the things they mention. It'll say if somebody makes a face at somebody else. Not that I always understand, like, what these different expressions are supposed to look like, but kind of, you know, at least it'll acknowledge it for me. If a character kind of, disappears for a little while in the movie or the TV show, and then all of a sudden you see them at the very end for a second and they don't say anything, then the audio description helps with that too. But I wouldn't use it on a day-to-day basis. Question 5. Do you watch silent, foreign, black and white, and or 3D films? Silent films, like completely silent films, no. Foreign films, the only foreign film that I've actually gotten all the way through was I had at one time rented the movie Let the Right One In, and I watched that. But obviously for me, if I'm trying to read what's on the screen, it's not helping me at all to understand what's going on visually. As far as black and white films go, I used to watch some of them on, I want to say it was AMC back in the day. I can't remember which of the networks used to run Shirley Temple movies a lot, like back in the 90s, early 2000s, that sort of thing. I used to watch those sometimes. And as far as 3D movies and TV shows, probably the most recent movie I've seen in 3D was when there was the anniversary of Jurassic Park at the movie theater. And you know, I love that movie, especially I love the T-Rex. I watched it a little bit through the blue side of the 3D glasses, but all it did was make it clear. Like when I watched without the 3D glasses, it was blurry, but when I put the blue side of the 3D glasses on, it was clear, but everything was blue. Question 6. What makes it easier or more difficult for you to understand a movie? Generally, I would say full screen. Anytime I can watch a movie or TV show full screen, it helps me out a lot. I still, in fact, have a fairly sizable collection of VHS tapes. Obviously, I only have like 4 of them here right now, but I still keep them around because I'm very nostalgic for the 80s and 90s. So yeah, the quickest answer that I could come up with is full screen. But also I would mention that, especially when I was younger, books helped me a lot. There were a lot of Disney movies especially that had books that would accompany them, and so I would either read the book either before I'd see the movie or after I would see the movie, and so it would kind of help me to understand maybe some of like the smaller visual cues or details that I would have missed. And then another thing that makes it easier for me to understand movies is auditory or dialogue cues. Anytime the dialogue can kind of lead you into what the next visual action is going to be, that helps me out a lot. And music cues, obviously, and maybe that's partially why I watch a lot of horror movies, is because I like the content and I like the fact that there's kind of the the build in the music, and it kind of tells you, you know, it makes the scenes more suspenseful or tense, whatever you want to call it. As far as movies being more difficult to understand, I have a lot of answers here. Actually, I would say split screen or more. Anytime there's like a split screen in the movie and there's different actions going on either side, or, you know, sometimes they'll have the screen split into even smaller screens where you're supposed to be able, like say the introduction, the title introduction to the Brady Bunch movie or TV show. So when other people who have like 20/20 vision are watching that, I'm not sure if they're able to comprehend like everything that's going on inside each square, or if they also have to individually use their eyes to look and see what each person is doing on the screen. Generally, when my friends go to the movies, they like to sit further away from the screen. And obviously, if you're sitting with a group of people further away from the screen and you can't see very well, then there's all sorts of distractions. There's, you know, people eating or moving around and accidentally kicking your seat, or, you know, somebody walking in, they've missed part of the movie and they're like, oh, well, what just happened? What did that character just say to the other character? And something that I use a lot of times if I'm either watching a movie at home or watching a movie at the movie theater and I'm not really sure what I'm going to be looking for, like say if I'm looking to see a particular actress and I know that the movie is set in a different country and there's a chance that they might have an accent or a different hairdo or something like that, and I'm not going to recognize them, then generally something I do to help me is I'll go on the Internet Movie Database and I'll look at the actors page and, you know, find out what character they are. That way when I'm at the movies and, you know, one character is talking to the other one and they, you know, address them by their name, then I'm like, oh, okay, great, you know, that's the person that I came here to see. Question 7, is most of your collection digital or tangible? I only just recently got into having a digitized movie collection, but generally I still tend to buy DVDs. Question 8, do you watch DVD or Blu-ray special features? It depends on what it is, generally. A lot of times I'll watch the commentary track, and it depends on also how easy the DVD or Blu-ray menu is to navigate. Question 9, how do you identify movies at a store or in your collection? Generally, if I'm going to a store in person looking for a DVD, which is pretty rare nowadays, but, you know, generally I like to do it just for the atmosphere. I usually look up what the packaging for the DVD or Blu-ray looks like. And as far as identifying DVDs and Blu-rays in my collection, I don't have any Braille labels or large print labels or anything like that. And I really obviously can't see, like, say from this angle, from this viewpoint, I can't tell what these different movies are just by seeing them sideways. I would have to take them out and physically, you know, look at the cover of each of them, and then I could recognize them by what's on the picture. Or sometimes, depending on how big the title is, you know, I can see the title. Link my video in the description of yours, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.